Hey guys, and welcome back for another video. So today we're going to be traveling on down to the most delusional channel on YouTube, and this one is called Black Macho, which was previously known as Soncerae Monique or something like that, but then she unalived herself and somehow was resurrected. Long story, and if you don't know, you don't know, and it's probably not worth bringing all of that up, but she had to make this video, and I just have to say something about it, okay? Because to me, this would probably be the last person that I would think would say anything about anything to do with being a parent or being a baby mama or judging anyone for that matter when you've got a track record like yours, ma'am. So let's go ahead and get this started, shall we?
Black people are only 13% of the population, yet they commit 55% of the murders. Why?
Because black people tend to be in lower economic statuses because of
Okay, no, this
CRT,
is fine. This is great.
Basically,
so you think that poverty equals crime?
I think that it's highly correlated, and there's a lot of studies
This is where
on
we
that.
disagree. What an insult to the working poor of this country.
So why do you think black people commit more crime,
Well, first
Charlie
of all,
Kirk?
so let me ask you a question as
No,
my
answer
answer.
it. Go on.
What percentage of blacks have a father around when they're raised?
I'm not sure.
20%.
So that's why you
80% of
think it
blacks
is.
do not have a stable father around. It is the most predictable way to end up in prison, end up as a murderer or a criminal.
And why
It's
do
not a
you think that's
racism
a
problem.
problem?
It's not a white supremacy problem. It's a fact that black fathers impregnate women and they don't stay around with the women
And
that they have
why-
impregnated.
Now, as far as all of that goes, he's speaking facts. And I can't argue facts, and I'm not going to. And I'm not here to bash black men, bash black fathers, or anything like that. Like I said, I'm just here for the whole black macho hypocrisy because, again, this is the last person that should be saying anything about anything. But here she freaking goes.
Our community is in denial because anytime a black woman says this, I've said this. And it's like, oh, you're delusional. That's not all black men.
No, ma'am, it's because you're saying it. Specifically you, the woman who has a 5-year-old or 6-year-old son, however old he is, by that married man, you know, the one that you kept complaining about was living out of a vehicle and was broke and had no money, you know, the one you decided to shack up with in short stay motels and, again, get pregnant by while he was still married to someone else. So the fact that he's not really there is not, good or anything, but, I mean, some people might say that could have been prevented had you, just picked a better dude to sleep with and, actually waited until maybe marriage, before procreating. And don't get me wrong, there are plenty of opportunities to make a mistake as a woman, definitely. But to do it twice over, don't you already have a daughter that you had out of wedlock? She was 38 years old when she decided to make that very poor decision to have a baby by a married man. So yeah, granted, you didn't pick a great guy, but some of that blame and onus should be on you too, because, you didn't have to have that baby, and you certainly didn't have to have him out of wedlock, and you certainly didn't have to have him by a married man. Those were decisions that you as a 38-year-old woman clearly made. And we're not talking about somebody in their early 20s or teens making a mistake. We're talking about a grown-ass woman. So you should be the last person talking about fathers not being around, because when you sleep with married men, this is exactly what you get. Married dudes that are already tied to somebody, like the fact that they're not going to be there for your, child that was born out of wedlock and things like that. Not surprising. Not surprising at all. And again, I'm not taking the blame completely off of him because, he didn't have to exactly get her pregnant. He didn't have to, put his penis in her raw. He could have very well covered his penis and put a condom on. Or he could have chose to just date better as well, because here you were sleeping with a woman who was clearly okay with you being married and then clearly okay then having your baby at almost 40 years old. At some point, black people just need to make better decisions. But you, ma'am, again, should be the last person to say anything about it. I'm just saying.
I made a video a year or so ago telling women to stop having babies by black men. And I said it because black women have a very difficult time with choosing the right black man to have a baby by. Black men was so mad.
So you're going to blame it on his blackness? I'm pretty sure there's black men out there that would not have done that. There's probably a good amount of black men that wouldn't even be attracted to somebody like you. Somebody who clearly has a problem with self-image, a woman that constantly has to wear weaves and wigs that look nothing like her natural hair, wearing contacts to make her look like she has hazel eyes, filters and tons of makeup to try to lighten her skin. Like, clearly you are one of the biggest self-haters on YouTube. Like, the AI that she uses looks nothing like her in real life. Like, this is her actual look right here. But you'll see pictures of her and it won't look anything like her. Like, dude, the person you're using in these photos is like 100 pounds less than you. How is this possible? I don't get it, and I don't think I ever will. But again, this is the last person that should be saying anything about this. Like, yuck. It's just yuck. I mean, you chose that man. You knew he was as broke as he was. You knew he was married to someone else. And then you said, let me go and try to trap this dude. You were running around calling a dude your spiritual husband that you were living out of a vehicle with. And you were putting it all over YouTube. And you were so embarrassed by it that you like unalived yourself. And I say that because it was like she faked her death or something, and then all of a sudden she just like rose from the dead and came back as Black Macho. No, ma'am. We remember the fact that you did that whole thing. Like, and there's plenty of other channels, and I'll link them in my description, that put you on blast, okay? Because we're here for it, and we didn't forget. You cannot live that down. There are some things that you do in life, consequences are going to last you a lifetime. That's going to be one of them.
So I'm saying, but this is why I said it. I'm a single mother raising my son without his father. I never want another woman to do anything like this, ever. No black child needs to be growing up without their father.
And so you think that telling black women to just not date black men is going to change that? No, the mindset of being a woman that is okay with having a baby out of wedlock is where the black community just goes wrong. You know, in a nutshell. Like, if we want to stop the dynamic of fatherless homes, we first, as black women, have to make the decision not to become pregnant and then keep the child and bring them into a world in which we're not committed to anyone. If we want fathers to be there, we have to have the commitment from them first. You can't have the baby and then expect the commitment. That's how a lot of black women keep getting hurt over and over and over again, because you keep making the same mistake. The mistake is sleeping with a guy without protection, without any level of commitment at all. Like, a lot of us, not speaking for myself in this sense, because I did have a baby out of wedlock, but I was definitely in a relationship when it happened. There are plenty of black women who aren't even in technically a relationship who will still bring a child into the world. Like, this dude is not even calling you his girl. You're not even nothing to him. You're just one of many. And you think, oh, this is the perfect guy to have a kid with because he's got A, B, and C going on in his life. But when it comes down to it, he's not going to be there for you. He's not going to be there for that kid. But if we are the ones who have to deal with the stress and the drama of being a single mom and stuff like that, why not make life easier for ourselves? And just say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to have a baby by somebody that's not with me. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just easy for them to scoot on out of this kid's life and mine and not be there for me financially or otherwise, because there's no commitment. If you just didn't get pregnant, then the kids wouldn't be in fatherless homes, right? I mean, am I missing something here? Because it's not like he raped you. You know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all be trying to trap dudes. And then you're going to come to find out that he's not going to stick around because you're just one of many. And that's why you have to make yourself valuable by saying, hey, I'm not having any children until there's a ring on this finger. And you know what? I'm not wearing my ring right now, you guys, and shame on me. But, you know, I'm also 21 weeks pregnant and your girl is getting a little heavy. So, you know, her ring don't fit right now. You know, my dainty little fingers are getting a little swollen. So yeah, but your girl is still very much married, pregnant with my second child by my husband, okay? Don't ever forget that. I made the mistake once with my daughter Luca. Definitely was married when I had Michael. Definitely still married with this child inside me, okay? I learned my lesson. I wasn't going to be another statistic for the rest of my life. And if I had never got married, please believe that I would have never got pregnant again, because being a single mom is ridiculously hard.
Period.
And shameful. When you're in the hospital and you're having that baby and that kid's got a different last name than you, or the kid has to take on your maiden name because there's no father, there's no marriage, it's embarrassing. And I don't know where the shame went in that, but we need to kind of bring it back. And some of y'all are comfortable having, sex and getting pregnant by dudes that aren't even your boyfriends. Like, forget fiancés, forget even a potential of marriage. Some of the dudes that you're having kids by aren't even your boyfriends. They're just dudes that sleep with you every now and again. I, for the life of me, don't understand that at all. Like, getting pregnant by your boyfriend, getting pregnant by your fiance is one thing, but it's like a whole nother level of desperation when you're having a kid by a guy that's not even your dude. Let's put the shame back in the world, baby mama, because somewhere along the lines, we as Black women have to start making the decision for ourselves. To sit there and say, don't have babies by Black men, that's just stupid. Because you think if you have a baby by a Mexican guy or a white man or something, and he's still just a friend that's effing you, do you think he's still going to put a ring on it just because he's not Black? No, he's still going to dump you and leave you fatherless, because at the end of the day, you were giving him the milk and the cow for free. I'm just simply here to let Soncerae Monique know that we did not forget about the fact that you unalived yourself a few years ago because of your pure and utter embarrassment by getting pregnant by a married man, and you've tried desperately to revive or unsully your name. And honey, I don't think anyone believes it yet. You guys leave me a comment and tell me what you think about the whole thing, and I will see you all next time.